What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with career mode for episode number 14, the Italian Grand Prix. Right there, you can see a quick look at the standings. We are currently sitting in P7, best of the rest in terms of the top teams. Our teammate Charles Leclerc making some really good momentum. As of late, he is starting to show some of that promise and climb his way up the grid. But it's time for the Italian Grand Prix qualifying. Let's get into it.
Qualifying is about to start here at the Autodromo di Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. The teams are about to head out onto the track any minute now.
Thanks, Crofty, and welcome, guys, to the Italian Grand Prix. We're going to jump right into things with Q1 here, setting the bank of time with a 1 minute 20.6. I'd imagine that some of the best times will be somewhere in the 19s, I would imagine, just given the natural progress from this game. Versus last, we come across the line and set a 1 minute 20.1 and pretty much up there with our teammate Charles Leclerc, literally only 1/10 away. So heading into this race, I feel like this is going to be a really good circuit for us. The Sauber has got the second best power unit out of the entire grid, so that's certainly got to count for something here at Monza. We're saving a little bit in the tank for Q1. There was certainly a little bit of improvement we could have made, but heading into Q2 and Q3 in particular, I feel like that's when we'll really pull out all the stops and hopefully be one of the top teams. I'd like to be on like the third row of the grid, maybe even pushing second row if we absolutely nail a lap. But here you can see this is our final lap here in Q2. We're currently up by 6/10 through the Ascari chicane now. Nice flowing run through there, a little bit wide on the exit, and especially there, just lost ourselves a lot of time. So that's not going to be great for our Delta as we head into the final corner. So with this lap, we should surely move inside the top 10. It's just a case of how deep inside the 10 we'll get. I'm hoping it'll be, again, somewhere near our teammate across the line. I think that's through. It is P7. So 7/10 away this time, a 19.8. So awesome stuff to get inside the 19s. But unfortunately for Charles, he couldn't make it. Literally only missed out by a 10th. So very unfortunate that he couldn't follow us through there. He's got a lot of work to do in the race. He will have the free choice of tyre in the race, and who knows, with the safety car or anything like that, it could vault him back up the order. But getting on with our weekend, you can see this is our final lap here in Q3. The banker's time that we set was a 1 minute 20.8, which is not great, but this run here has been absolutely phenomenal. That run through the second chicane was just, as the Italians would say, bellissimo. Okay, that's hot. Never do that again. Anyway, halfway through the lap now, and the lap has been absolutely perfect up until this point. This is the lap that I need to pull out in order to challenge the Red Bulls, to challenge the Ferraris, and maybe even, dare I say, the Mercedes. This time a much more clean run through Ascari. The final bit, I got a little bit of oversteer, but otherwise it was very nice. We're on target for a 1 minute 20.8. Maybe if we find more improvement in the final corner, it could even be a mid-19. Nice exit, 1.1 seconds up, and this is going to be a 1 minute 19.7. Across the line, where does it put us?
We're very happy with our position. Well done.
P5. Are you serious? P5. Wow, that was amazing. So we jumped both the Red Bulls, and we're, well, 3/10 away from Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. So we're on the third row of the grid. I believe this is up there with my best qualifying of the season. So it gives us a great starting point for the race. Basically, we can just be in a massive slipstream train. And if we can stay with the top two teams, we're in with a chance of winning this race. Like I said, we're a beast in a straight line. We're lacking a little bit downforce-wise, but if we stay close, we can overtake in a straight line, certainly. And that's all you really need here at Monza. So confidence is sky high. We need a good start, need a good strategy. We need to drive out of our minds to win this race, or at least get a podium. I absolutely maximized it in qualifying. Let's do the same in the race.
Well done. That was a good qualifying performance.
It's race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Räikkönen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. They must be starting to feel the pressure at this point, Ant. Surely. There's a real shot of the title on the cards here, but one error at the wrong time, well, that could throw it all away. We have a really close scrap at the top of the championship at the moment, and they're right in the thick of it. But any mistake now could be disastrous.
Of course, there's never a good time to make mistakes, but it will feel 10 times worse if it happens at such a critical point of the season. Let's hope this contest is settled where it should be, on track, wheel to wheel.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Kimi Räikkönen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Mr. Monaco, Daniel Ricciardo, and Vettel, Grosjean, Magnussen, Ocon, and Carlos Sainz. Leclerc, Perez, Nico Hülkenberg, and Gasly, Van Dorn, Verstappen. They've taken a grid penalty. Brendan Hartley and Lance Stroll, Alonso, and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the Italian Grand Prix. What a feeling it is to be an Italian-based team starting on the second row of the grid. Mixing it right in there with our big brothers Ferrari. That is awesome, awesome stuff. Sebastian Vettel got a grid penalty, so we got promoted to P4. So second row of the grid it is. And we're so close. Like the front of the grid is right there, and we are part of it. It is amazing to see the progress of this team in such a short amount of time. We have a real chance of winning this Grand Prix, and I'm gonna act as if I'm in a front running team. I'm gonna absolutely go for this one, because you never know when a race victory might come again. 5 red lights and away we go for this Italian Grand Prix. Looks like the initial launch was okay, but the wheel spin in second gear was probably not so great, and we get overtaken by Ricciardo and Vettel as we head into turn 1, trying to be very aggressive under brakes to regain those positions, and we do so. So P4 once again. You can see Räikkönen and Bottas squabbling quite hard there for P2 in this Grand Prix. Hamilton absolutely stretching his advantage already, trying to flex the muscles and break away from the leading pack. That's us going really deep into the second sector chicane, nearly drilling into the back of those guys there, so very unfortunate. We lost just so much time there, and now it's allowed Ricciardo to slide up the inside. Now heading into Les Mode 2, trying to hold around the outside, and it might just about be P4 once again if we can get this Red Bull on the momentum heading into Ascari. I think that's Kevin Magnussen in the Haas putting pressure on Ricciardo as well. That's my first corner cut of the day, and it's come on the first lap, so not ideal for the rest of this Grand Prix. Got to make sure we are a clean boy for the rest of it. But you can see Bottas and Räikkönen battling quite hard, just like in real life. Only yesterday it was, so quite realistic to see that these two guys battling it out just like they were in the real life Grand Prix. Hamilton stretching his advantage. He's like literally got 2 seconds lead already. Such has been the battling between the two Finns on this opening lap. But early doors, we look like we're struggling a little bit. I think we might find it a little bit difficult to keep up with these guys early on. The downforce of our car just doesn't seem to be there. Magnussen having a go at us into the final corner there. I actually decided to let him go. It seems like Slipstream is so powerful, despite us running really low downforce. It's very, very difficult to keep cars behind. So I decided to let him go, and then we basically slingshot past him again on the run into turn 1. The two Finns still going side by side. I don't think they haven't been side by side all race. Now they finally sort each other out, and Räikkönen gets in front, but they're going side by side again. So it's wow, like these guys literally are glued together. It's like there's some kind of magnet in their side pods that's just allowing them to stay together. It is insane. Meanwhile, engineer was warning me about Grosjean, who's got some kind of problem. He's falling back down the order, so that's unfortunate for him. But for us, we're going to see if we can get Raikkonen and possibly Bottas here up the inside, onto the grass no less as well, on the run into turn 1. And that is us up into P2. No, we've overshot, and we're going to give up those places just by the lack of momentum there, overshooting the corner. Bottas gets us back, but I think Raikkonen had a really bad run through turn 1, and he couldn't get us either. So, replay. Just overshot, just went in a little bit too deep. I got the wheel on the grass, which might have contributed to us not being able to pull up the car. Yeah, just a little bit of a squeeze there. Had to force our way kind of past Bottas there. Asked way too much of the tyres, and we gave up P2. Damn. And we actually split up the two fins, which might be a really bad thing, unless Raikkonen can catch up to Bottas again, because Bottas now has clear air. He can stretch out the margin potentially and not really worry about someone diving up his inside like he's been worrying about all race. Meanwhile, Vettel got past Magnussen, and now he's looking to have a pot shot at us on lap 4 now. This is... Who is this? No, this is Vettel falling back into the clutches of Magnussen. So I then, just after defending from Vettel, heard that he was struggling for fuel issues, which was interesting. So he had to save a lot of fuel, fell into the clutches of Magnussen, and they were squabbling for the next 5 laps, and I was able to get away. So it's very crucial to make sure that you don't get tangled up in a huge battle train. And if you do engage in, you know, wheel-to-wheel combat, at least do it on the straight so that you're at least slipstreaming against someone else. But we're into the pits now. We're going onto the soft compound tyres, which is going against the original strategy we got given at the start of the race. The engineer wanted me to go onto medium tyres, but we made it to lap 10 on the supers, and I was like, if we've made it 1/3 of the race on the softest compound, we can make the second 2/3 on the middle compound, surely. Like, the tyre wear can't be that bad, so we should be fine. If not, it'll be a little bit of a stretch, but otherwise, I don't think it'll cost us track position later on in the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc, our teammate, stopped a lap or 2 after us, and he's actually gone onto the soft compound tyre as well with us. And I'd imagine that he's going to go to the end of the Grand Prix. So Sauber, it seems, are on the optimal tyre strategy here in this Italian Grand Prix. Look at the tyres, 20%, and we've been on them for 6 laps, so they'll be absolutely fine until the end of the race. It might get to like 50 or 60%, but otherwise, it should be alright. But settling into this Grand Prix now, the second stint, I had clear air. The front runners absolutely stretched away, and now Charles, after somehow getting into P5, is now looking really fast. Like, really, really fast. He was 5 seconds behind us as he rejoined out of the pits, and now the gap is nothing. He is mega, mega fast. So we're going to put it up in a rich, we're going to put it up in a high ERS deployment, but it's not enough. He goes to the outside, so I'm like, okay, let's let him go, and we'll stick in the slipstream DRS, and he can pull us along and drag us away from Sergio Perez, because the last thing I wanted was to engage in a battle with our teammate and draw a Force India into the fray. It was not what I wanted, but I just didn't have the pace. After I let Leclerc go, he was gone. Like, he bridged the gap by over a second in half a lap. So that was it. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. How was he gaining all this time? I had a look at the sectors, and really, the only thing I could really deduce was that he was gaining a lot in sectors 2 and 3. He just possibly had slightly more downforce, but was making it work. Maybe low downforce actually wasn't working out for me too well. Like, maybe everyone else was getting up to their top speed fine, and I was just wasting the downforce, if that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, I was struggling, at least versus my teammate. And again, this was another wake-up call to say, hey, do not underestimate your teammate, right when I thought that I was possibly getting away with the ascendancy in our rival, shall we say. rivalry. But last lap of the Grand Prix, I'm giving it absolutely everything. So is Lewis Hamilton. He's just gone purple with a 1 minute 21.4, which is outstanding pace. But yeah, I was even happy to go purple to the first sector split, given that our tyres are pretty much dying now. It's the end of the Grand Prix. The fuel burn on the car was non-existent. I was running in rich revs the whole race. Nothing. Could not burn fuel to save my life. So I ended up with like 2.5 laps extra worth of fuel. But there you go. It's P5.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So Lewis Hamilton wins the Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Raikkonen ending up on the podium, just like the real-life Formula 1 Grand Prix at Monza just yesterday. Pretty crazy to see how that all worked out in the end. But guys, that has been this video for today. Charles, amazing pace. P11 to P4, completely outraced us. And I'm genuinely, I'm happy for him. I'm glad that he's taking the fight to us and surprising us on the odd occasion. That's what we want. We don't want to be dominating our teammate. It was good to see that he had the pace. But, for us, there was no fuel burn. I put on 3 laps of extra fuel. I ran the whole race in rich revs. Maybe that was affecting my engine, overheating it, and maybe giving it less horsepower. I didn't really take note of that, but that was certainly something that was probably holding us back. I'd say we were probably losing 0.2, 0.3 a lap, just because of the extra fuel load that we were running than what we needed to have. But anyway, it's a good result, great result for the team. I certainly can't complain.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it? It looks like your rival bested you today, doesn't it? Appreciate your time.
So Charles is a fiery little beast, isn't he? Really came alive in that race. A real shame for him as well that he couldn't really hook it up together in qualifying. He seems to be struggling a lot, especially in Q2. He shows the pace in Q1, then Q2 rolls around. Sometimes he even goes slower than what he does in Q1, and that's really been holding him back in some of these weekends. So if Charles can hook up a full qualifying session, watch out, because he is going to be a true force if that race pace is anything to go by as well. Imagine what he could do with the track position. But that's this episode for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and see plenty more F1 2018 content. I did an earlier video today, a 100% race around France. That was an online video, so if you haven't seen that, I recommend you go check that out. Some really, really good battling there. If you're interested in that. But in terms of upgrades going forward, we're going to do 2 downforce upgrades, front and rear, and we are going to do a minor weight reduction upgrade, hopefully in time for the Singapore Grand Prix. A totally different racetrack to what we've experienced here. It could be a struggle, but maybe with the upgrades, it could vault us up the order. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next episode, I'll see you next time.